everybody, this is Grace from Grace Blind Tech, and today I will be discussing what I feel, and this is just my personal opinion, is the best Linux distribution for the blind. This works on all processors but the ARM processor, so you cannot run it on something like your Raspberry Pi, but you can run it on something like your computer, your laptop, your desktop, or in my case, a virtual machine, because I'm recording right now in Windows and I wouldn't want the recording to stop. Now, for those of you who can see, you can see that I've pulled up the page, but for those of you who are blind, the Linux distribution I am recommending is called Linux Mint. Now, it's easy to use, accessible, it's just all around amazing. The only thing I have not tried is the Braille support in it yet, but I will try that in a future video. Now, a quick note, you need to download the Mate version. Some people pronounce that mate, along with pretty much every screen reader I know. But you need to download the Mate or mate version because this is the only desktop environment that is accessible. Okay, now let's explore the page.
Heading Level 3 ready to download. Linux Mint is available in different flavors. Choose an edition below. For more information, read the installation instructions. Linked button installation instructions. Link graphic no description available. Sleek, modern, innovative. Heading Level 2 Cinnamon Edition.
Not that one.
The most popular version of Linux Mint is the Cinnamon Edition. Cinnamon is primarily developed for and by Linux Mint. It is slick, beautiful, and full of new features. Link download, link new features, link release notes. Stable, robust, traditional. Heading Level 2 Mate Edition.
That! Mate Edition or Mate Edition.
Linux Mint is also involved in the development of Mate, a classic desktop environment which is the continuation of GNOME 2, Linux Mint's default desktop between 2006 and 2011. Although it misses a few features and its development is slower than Cinnamon's, Mate runs faster, uses fewer resources, and is more stable than Cinnamon.
So now we go to that cluster of buttons.
Link download, link new features, link release notes.
Use your control and right arrow to find the download button.
Out of link new. Out of link download.
And you would hit enter on that.
Linux Mint 21 Vanessa Linux Mint. Banner landmark list with 6 items. Link blog.linuxmint.com. Feed equals RSS tool. Link root at linuxmint.com. Link widget zeros.
I'm just going to press the H key.
Linux Mint 21 Vanessa. Heading Level 1. Linux Mint 21. Heading Level 2 Mate Edition. On this page you can download Linux Mint either directly or via torrent as an ISO image. Make sure to verify your image after downloading it. Link graphic appears to say M. Heading Level 5 Information. List with 5 items. Size 2. Link installation guide. Link release announcement.
I'll go back to the size. That might be interesting.
Link size 2.5 gigabytes.
So not too bad.
Link release notes. Torrent download. Out of list. Heading Level 3 Integrity and Authenticity.
I'm just going to jump to where I can download, so I think it's the next heading.
Download mirrors. Heading Level 3.
There it is.
Download from one of the mirrors below. List with 1 items. Link 64-bit. Out of list table with 122 rows and 2 columns. Row 1 column 1 location. Column 2 mirror. Row 2 location. Column 1 graphic no description available. Mirror column 2 link layer online.
I'm going to use the heading key until I find USA.
Content info landmark quick links heading level 6.
Okay.
Link table location. Row 112 mirror column 2 link its telecommunication location column 1 graphic no description available. Row 1.
I'm going to just use the world mirror because it's something I can find easily.
Heading Level 3 Integrity and Auth. Anyone official download buttons to link button. Heading Level download from one of the mirrors but list with 1 items. Link 64-bit. Out of list table with 122 rows and 2 columns. Row 1 column 1 location. Column 2 mirror. Row 2 location column 1 graphic no description. Mirror column 2 link layer online. Row 3 location column 1 graphic no description available. Cat mirror column 2 link Manitoba Unix user group. Row 4 location column 1 graphic no description available. Canada. Mirror column 2 link University of Waterloo Computer Science Club. Row 5 location column 1 graphic no description available. USA.
Okay, I'm going to use this one.
Mirror column 2 link advancedhosters.com. Row 6 location column 1 graphic no description available. USA. Mirror column 2 link Clarkson University.
That one. That's the one.
Downloading 2.3 gigabytes. Linux Mint 21 make 64-bit.iso alert.
So it's an ISO or ISO file, which means it can be booted off a live USB, which I will show in a different video, or in a virtual machine, which is what I'm going to show in this video. So, I'm going to leave it in my downloads folder, but if you were actually creating a virtual machine you weren't going to just discard, I would move it to a folder that you know you're not gonna misplace it in. Like, I have all my virtual machine files in Documents, Gross Gang, VMware, which is a site that used to host virtual machine files, but I'm just going to leave this one in the Downloads folder. Now let's see how downloaded it is.
Downloads bar grouping 0.2/2.3 gigabytes. 23 minutes left. Linux Mint 21 meg 64-bit.ISO grouping 0.2/2.3 gigabytes. 23 minutes.
Let me check.
0.3/ meeting controls row 1 column more drop down button dot to bottom button stop share alt mute current audio settings start video settings security drop down open participants more options for participants chat button more options for chat drop down new share alt share option drop down button pause share alt annotate button closed open apps panel more drop down button menu pause recording alt plus
Yes,
P
we can.
meeting controls Linux Mint
Okay, so it is now finished downloading.
L
As we see
downloads bar
right
grouping
here by, at least in Chrome, doing Shift F6.
options Linux Mint 21 meg 64-bit.ISO button Linux
So now we can close Safari.
folder view list recycle bin checkbox check
Did I just say Safari? I did. Now we can close our web browser. Now you want to either install or, in my case, open VMware. I'm running
VMware Workstation 16 player
the
checkbox
player because it's just, in my mind,
VMware
easier.
Works
So what we want to do is hit Control-N to give us a new virtual machine.
new virtual machine wizard dialog help but dialog install from I will install
So where it says Install From, you want to choose
installer disk image file ISO radio button
Installer
check alt
Disk
plus M
Image File ISO.
combo box collapsed browse button
And
alt
now
plus
we
R
want to browse.
browse for file open can up address search items command tree view items view list Android 8 not
So now you want to navigate
10 suggestions
to
available press
where
down
it
my
is.
documents 4 of 9 items view list folders grouping desktop row documents row downloads row 4 column 1 4
In my case, it is in Downloads.
items view last month group today grouping expanded Linux Mint 20 today 1 expanded Linux Mint 21 meg 64-bit 1 of 4
And there it is. So hit enter on that.
new virtual machine wizard dial help button next combo box collapsed edit selected C users owner downloads Linux Mint 21 meg 64-bit.ISO installer to cancel button next greater button alt
Now
plus
we hit next.
unavailable dialog guest operating system grouping Apple Mac OS 10 radio button checked alt plus M
That is not right. So we want to choose our guest operating system,
other radio button Apple Linux radio button
which
checked alt plus
in
L
our case it's Linux. Now there isn't a Mint option in VMware, but this is a fork of Ubuntu, or I think it's Ubuntu, which is how it's pronounced. So it's a fork of Ubuntu, which is a fork of Debian or Debian, I'm not sure. So what you want to look for in this
version grouping
Next.
version combo box Ubuntu collapsed alt plus
is not Ubuntu, but
VMware photo Ubuntu 64-bit
Ubuntu 64-bit, since it's a 64-bit operating system.
help button less back but next greater button
Now
alt
we're going to hit next.
unavailable dialog virtual machine name edit alt plus V selected Ubuntu 64-bit
I'm going to rename
blank
that
selection
to
removed
Linux Mint for Grace Blind Tech.
location virtual machine name edit alt plus V selected Linux Mint for Grace Blind Tech browse less back but next greater button alt
Now
plus M
hit next.
unavailable property page the
It
virtual
doesn't
machine's hard
matter
disk
what
is
you
stored as one or more files on the host computer
Okay, this is important for ease of
split
use.
virtual disk into multiple files
You want to choose here
store virtual disk as a single file radio button
store
checked alt
virtual
plus M
disk as a single file.
maximum disk size GB edit alt plus S selected 20.0
And this is asking for the maximum disk size. I have a lot of storage, so I'm going to bump that up to about 70.
21 48 49 74.6 70.0 store
So
virtual
now
disk
it
as
reads-
maximum disk size GB edit alt plus S selected 70.0
70 gigabytes. That's much better.
store help button less back next greater button unavailable dialog the virtual machine will be created with the following settings list
Now, instead of looking at this list, just go to
customize hardware button alt
Customize.
plus hardware dialog property page maximum recommended memory swapping may
So you're probably like, memory, didn't we already choose that? This is RAM, random access memory. So depending on how much your computer has, you're going to need different amounts. I'm going to give it 8.6 because I have 16.
Property page maximum MB slider 67 memory size
megabytes.
68 memory size 77 78 76 list memory summary 10.6 MB slider
That's not
77 memory size list memory summary 9.9 property page max MB slider 7 list memory summary 9.2 gig MB slider 70 list pros memory summary 9.2 gig MB add button property page max 70 list memory summary 8.6
There we go. Now, look for this.
list memory summary.
Now, go to the next item in the list.
Processors summary 2 of 8.
Processors is how many cores you're giving this. My computer has 8 cores, so I'm going to give it 7.
Processors grouping number of processor list processors summary processors virtualize CPU performance counters checkbox virtualize IAMU IAD button close button.
And now you can just close this unless you want to enable Intel VTX, which would allow you to run a VM inside a VM, and you could keep enabling Intel VTX in your VMs until you have a VM inside a VM inside a VM.
New virtual machine wizard dialog less back button alt finish button.
Now hit finish.
Unavailable VM Ware workstation 16 player list Linux Mint for Grace Blind Tech 2 of 9.
And
Linux
you've
Mint for
just
Grace Blind
created
Tech
a
2 of
Linux
9.
Mint virtual machine. Now let's hit
Virtual machine play virtual machine
play virtual machine.
unavailable pane.
And let's explain how to use virtual machines a bit. So, it's a computer inside your computer. So, if you want to interact with the virtual machine, it's Control G. Now, if you want to interact with your main computer and get out of your virtual machine, to get out, it's Control Alt.
Linux Mint for Grace Blind.
I see something on the screen. I'm going to recognize
Recognizing new grub version 2.8 start Linux hint 21 HRTE 64-bit compatible OEH install for manufacturers. Test AMRI. Use the T and keys to select which entry is highlighted. Press enter to boot the selected DS. Linux Mint for Grace pane.
I'm just going to hit enter. I forgot about that step. So, when you're in, just hit Control G to interact with your virtual machine and hit enter. And now it should be booting. Yes, it is. Now I see a logo because I have a little bit of sight, but I cannot tell what the logo is because it is too small. But I'm sure someone in the comments can let me know what the Linux Mint logo is. My guess is either a peppermint or some sort of a mint, but that's just a guess. And in a minute here, you'd want to either OCR with JAWS or recognize with NVDA because you would be on your desktop. I think we are, so let me hit Control Out to stop interacting with the machine.
Linux Mint for Grace Blind Tech VMware Workstation 16 player.
And let's caps lock R to recognize with NVDA.
Recognizing Yare. Computer. Mint's home. Install Linux Mint.
Okay,
Linux Mint
yes. So Control G to start interacting.
pane.
And from here, you want to hit Windows Alt S. Or in the case of Linux, the Windows is called the super key. So Super Alt S.
Screen reader on.
Now you've got eSpeak and you've got a screen reader. Now you might try to tab around or you're not going to get anything. You do have a graphical user interface. But for some reason on this distribution, you've got to get to the desktop. So with that, that is Control Alt D.
Icon view.
Now you can start interacting and installing the system because this is a live environment. Now, when I say install this system, you're not going to be installing this to your hard drive. It is not going to wipe Windows. Everything is going to be there. All you're doing is installing it into the 70 gigabytes that we've pre-selected for this virtual machine. So look for
Computer icon Mint Home install Linux Mint desktop configuration file.
Install Linux Mint desktop configuration file. And hit enter on that.
Return left shift.
Don't hit left shift. That was an accident. Hello?
Linux Mint zoom window. Linux Mint recognizing computer. Install 00 Sunday August 00 install Linux Mint. Computer. Linux Mint for
Push
great
Left
pain.
left alt. Mint.
There we go.
Install frame. Install. Continue push button.
Okay, so now we're in the install dialog. So read the option before hitting continue.
Left quit push button. Language selector. Table with 80 rows, 1 column. English.
So it says English, so I'm going to hit continue.
Tab. Continue push button. Space.
You hit space to continue, I think.
Table with 100 rows,
Yep.
1 column. English left paren, US right paren.
English US.
Tab. Text. Type here to test your keyboard. G-R-A-C-E spell E-L-I-N-E spell T-E-C-H.
So yes, it said type here to test your keyboard, and I wrote Grace Blind Tech, so we know that this is working.
Tab. Detect keyboard layout tab. Quit push button tab. Back push button tab. Continue push
So
button.
just hit space on continue.
Space. Install multimedia codecs checkbox not checked.
This is important. You want to check this box.
Space. Checked.
So it's installing some more components, and we need those.
Tab. Quit push button tab. Back push button tab. Continue push
Now,
button.
hit space on continue to get to the next screen.
Space.
It's not reading. Hold on.
Tab. Install multimedia codecs checkbox checked.
This is where it takes a bit of time, because I think it's actually, like, installing it. Although I'm not sure, because...
0%.
There we go. Now, tab
Erase
around your
disk
screen.
and install Linux Mint. Selected radio button. Tab. Advanced features. Erase disk and install
Erase
Linux
disk
left
and install
control.
Linux Mint. Now remember, it's not erasing any of your data. It's just erasing nothingness, because it's free space on your hard drive.
Tab. Advanced features. Tab. Quit push button tab. Back push button tab. Install now push button.
Now look for the install now push button and hit space or enter on it.
Space. Write the changes to disks. Dialog if you can tab. Continue push button.
I'm gonna hit continue.
Space. Install frame. 3%. 100%.
That does not mean it's done. There's some more steps.
Panel. Tab. Text. Los Angeles selected.
Now it's asking where you are. This is to help with location-based apps and to give you the right time. Los Angeles is pretty near where we are, so I'm gonna keep that.
Tab. Back push button tab. Continue push
And
button.
hit space on continue or enter. I don't know, I like hitting space.
Space. Your name text.
So
0%.
your name. You can give this anything. It's kind of like in Windows when it's asking for your name. So I'm gonna type Grace.
Left G-R-A-C-E. Tab. The name it uses when it talks to other computers. Your computer's name
That's
left control.
Interesting. Now, it's asking, okay, when it's talking to other computers, like when you're connecting to Bluetooth, or you're in the
17%.
terminal, which I'll explain what that is later, and you're looking at your computer name, what do you want to call this computer? So I'm going to type
Left
Grace's
G-R-A-C-E-S. L-A-P-T-O-P. Tab. The name it uses when it talks to other computers. Your computer's name text. Grace's laptop selected.
Now the next part is your username.
Tab. Pick a username text.
Now,
Grace
what
selected.
it doesn't tell you
24%.
is
Backspace.
you have to actually
Selection
have it all
deleted.
lowercase.
Backspace.
You can't
Left
have uppercase
control.
letters in your username. So I'm going to
28%.
type Grace, all lowercase.
Max G-R-A-C-E. Tab.
Should I type that
Pick a
right?
username text. Grace selected. Tab. Choose a password black
That's pretty
circle.
standard.
Black circle. Confirm your password black circle. Black circle. Require my password to log in. Selected radio
I'm going to have it
button.
require my password to log in.
36 tab. Encrypt my home folder checkbox not checked.
I'm not going to encrypt my home folder. This is where all your documents, and it's like in Windows where there's desktop, documents,
41%.
downloads, pictures, videos. It would have you put in a password to get to that. I'm not going to do that.
Tab. Continue push button.
And continue.
Space.
And now,
45%.
if you tab, you should hear a letter.
Tab. Toggle button collapsed.
Or that.
Tab. New line.
There we go. New line. So you'd hear that. Now this is the install screen. So
51%.
this is where it's actually installing. So this takes a while. So I'm going to pause the recording, but you can just sit back
58%.
and relax.
Linux mint for Grace Blind. Zoom row 1 column 2. Meeting controls row 1. Meeting controls window. More drop down dock to bottom button. More closed. Open apps. More drop down buttons menu. Pause recording.
64%.
And alt pause recording. Alt space.
29:51 mint ubiquity left bracket
Linux mint for Grace Blind. Typing my workstation 16 player. Zoom row 1 column. Meeting controls. Linux mint for Zoom row 1. Meeting dot to bottom. More drop down button. Menu.
None right
Pause recording. And alt plus
right bracket og
Linux mint for Grace Blind. Typing my workstation.
29:56 mint ubiquity Pile left control. Og 717:30:14 mint
Linux mint
left
for
alt.
meeting controls dot to
5%.
bottom more drop down button menu. Pause recording and alt pause recording respect this meeting recorded in
Okay, so it is now actually finished. So
Linux mint
let's
for-
go back to our virtual machine. And if you have stopped interacting with it like I did to mess with the recording the video, you'd have to hit Control G. And
Pain.
what it's basically telling us now is that the installer is finished. If you want to keep testing the system, then you can, but anything you do to the system will not be saved on next reboot. So what you have to do
Tab. Continue testing push button.
is look for this button
Tab. Restart now push button.
and hit enter on it.
Return.
And you won't get any feedback, but what it's doing now is restarting the system. Now, for most users, this would be it. You've installed Linux Mint, but for a few people, especially blind people, you have to configure settings so that you can use it. The only setting I would recommend you configure is your Orca preferences. Now, Orca is the screen reader for Linux. It's kind of like JAWS or NVDA or VoiceOver. But it's set to use the desktop layout, and if you're like me and don't have an insert key, you need to configure it so that you can use the caps lock key instead. So once this has finished rebooting, I will do that, and then we will sign off. Now, when you reboot, it'll say hit enter to continue rebooting. It wants you to remove the installation media. I'm pretty sure VMware does this automatically. So just wait a minute like I did, and then just hit enter. And soon we should be in Linux Mint again. It has a pretty fast startup time. The screen reader should come on. If it doesn't, just use NVDA or JAWS too.
Linux Mint for meeting dock to bot stop share dock more drop down button menu. Pause record and pause spend this meeting.
Sorry, I got interrupted. So in my case, the screen reader does not come on. So you want to hit Windows or Super Alt S.
Screen reader on. Login screen frame. Enter password for Grace password text.
So enter that password
Bullet.
you set.
Bullet.
And then, in just a second here, you will be in, and you should hit Windows or Super Alt S again.
Screen reader on. Welcome frame. List with 5 items. Welcome. Tab. First steps.
So this is just telling you about the operating system and that you can set up some accounts.
Tab. Documentation. Tab. Help. Tab. Contribute. Tab. Scroll pane.
So the only thing you have to do here
Tab.
is
Show this dialog at startup. Checkbox checked.
uncheck this,
Space.
because you can always
Not
get to it
checked.
later,
Tab. List with 5 items.
and then
Left
Alt F4 on it.
Left top desktop.
Now, I'm gonna-
Left alt.
Tell VMware, which is what I'm using to fix the resolution real quick. There we go.
Pane.
It's kind of weird looking, but I can see it now. Okay, so what you have to do is hit Control Alt
desktop. Brace at brace.
Now what this has done is
control.
opened up a terminal window. So this is where you configure a lot of command line stuff. Here we're just telling Orca to open its settings. So we type Orca, then we type a space, then we type a dash,
equals, backspace, dash,
and an S, and enter.
Return.
And
Screen
in a
reader
second,
on. Screen reader preferences dialog.
we are in our
control.
preferences. So
Tab. Keyboard layout panel. Desk left control laptop.
I'll change that to
Selected
laptop.
radio button. Tab. Progress bar up tab. Braille updates check tab. Beep updates checkbox not checked.
I'll tell it to beep updates,
Space. Check. General page
which
tab.
is like
Left
when
control.
NVDA does the progress bar beeps. And then tab up until you find
Voice page tab.
that one.
Pronunciation page. Text attribute. General page tab.
where is it?
Text. Pronunciation page. Braille page tab. Speech page tab. Voice page tab. Braille page tab. Echo page tab.
Echo. So this is where you configure your keyboard echo.
Tab. Enable key echo check
I'm going to turn
space.
off key
Not
echo,
tab. Enable echo by character
but I
check
am going to
space.
have the
Check.
characters echo
Tab. Enable echo by
and the
space.
words. So now
OK
you
push
just
button.
tab to OK or shift tab to it,
Space. Screen reader settings reloaded.
and hit Alt F4 now to get out of your
Brace at
terminal.
dialog close this terminal. There is still a process running
Ignore
in this
that because
terminal.
the process has actually finished.
There is still a process cancel push button. Close terminal
And
push
when you
button.
close, you should hear
Screen reader off.
screen reader off. So just hit Super Alt S and I did not hit the right combination.
Screen reader on.
You are rocking Linux Mint. Now, that is how to install Linux Mint and what I think is the best Debian-based distribution for the blind in VMware. This is Grace Blind Tech saying peace out.
Linux Mint, meeting control dock to bot, more drop down button menu. Pause record, stop recording.